Hi everyone, this is the last video in my series of Pluto through the houses. So I know it's been a while. I've been super duper busy with constant readings, which has been great. And thanks to everyone, that's been liking, commenting on my channel. I really appreciate it. And I'm just going to start with Pluto through the 10th, then go to the 11th and 12th. Okay, so if you have Pluto in the 10th house in your natal chart, if you have, say, supportive aspects from Pluto to your sun or to your moon from the 10th house, it's going to be much more of a sense of flow around, engaging with your career and your goals. If you've got a lot of squares, like a Pluto-Saturn square or a Pluto square sun, or any type of, very difficult aspects, and especially if you've got more than one of them, you're going to find that your desire to come into authority in your career is going to be slowed down. So there can be, for people that have Pluto in the 10th house, a lot of frustration if you have a lot of difficult aspects in achieving what you want in your career. You can find that you're meeting up with people from your past lives through the workplace. So especially if you've got a lot of 12th house placements, like a sun in the 12th house or, moon in the 12th house. But there is, for everybody that has Pluto in the 12th house, the 10th house, there is a desire to become empowered through your goals and your ambitions in life in some way. And, it's going to be slow getting there, especially, as I said, if you've got these difficult aspects. So a lot, depends on aspects in terms of how well you do. But again, as I say, Pluto always rules highs and lows in life. So it's common for people with Pluto in the 10th house to start in a very lowly job at the beginning of their working life. They could be like doing the most basic job, and how they respond to that job is going to be based on other things in their chart. But the Western world, in terms of jobs, just as an example, starting on a basic job and then going to something very empowered, like running your own corporation, running your own fantastic business that's very successful, or owning your own business in some way and doing really well. Now, another thing with Pluto in the 10th house, as with when you have Pluto on the angles, it's very intense for the person. So when you have Pluto on the first house, the ascendant or descendant, the IC or the MC, especially, if it's right on those points, it's going to be very, very intense. So like if you have Pluto conjunct MC, it's going to intensify the experience of what it means to find empowerment for you in your career. Again, looking at the aspects in your own chart and seeing, if you've been through a lot of difficulty for your career and your work life and getting to where you want to go, and dealing with issues in the workplace, or even in marriage, because the 10th house relates to marriage as well as your goals and aspirations. So if you've had a lot of difficulties feeling like you're getting somewhere in life, look at the aspects that Pluto makes from your 10th house to your personal placements, and that's going to tell you a lot as well about why it's been difficult for you, or if it's been less testing for you. But the other thing I wanted to say was, people with Pluto in the 10th house will have usually one parent, the dominant parent, who was very, very difficult and tested them greatly. So you could have a lot of issues with one of your parents. There can be secrecy in the marriage of the parents. So between, your mum and dad, there could have been some secrecy. There could be something there in their marriage that is not spoken about, that is hidden. There can be a feeling of betrayal or abuse from one of the parents. So, this also makes it, obviously more intense and difficult in having this placement. But, there is a desire for independence and authority, and to transform yourself through your ambitions, through your finding your own authority in life, So 10th house is about, authority as well, in a way of finding your own authority when you've got Pluto there, because it's very much wanting things on its own terms. Often people with Pluto in the 10th house, they don't really enjoy, having a boss. It's kind of like not really appealing in any way. So, which I can understand as a Scorpio rising, or if you have, Pluto in other key parts of your chart, you might feel the same way as well, especially if you've got a lot of Capricorn or Leo energy where you're very independent. or Aquarius energy, you know, you may struggle having a boss. And if you have, say, Jupiter there, also in the 10th house next to Pluto, well, you might be able to make a lot of money, but you may be interested in justice issues or fairness, you know, in the workplace and things like that. So, you know, if you've got Sagittarius energy with the Pluto, or Jupiter energy there with the Pluto, you might be really find it difficult to be under a boss because you crave freedom for yourself as well. So again, you know, you're always looking at the other placements. If you've got a lot of 12th house or a lot of Pisces energy with Pluto in the 10th house, you also might find that this heavy karma to clear, you know, a lot of projection going on from other people, projecting their issues onto you, and you having to deal with past life leftover energy that you're needing to clear up, basically. Okay, so I'm going to go on to Pluto in the 11th house now. So Pluto in the 11th house, it's very different energy to the last one. You know, the 11th house, it's a house of friendships for one thing, and also dealing with the public. And there can be problems with friends, basically. So if you have Pluto there and you've got also, you know, difficult aspects, you may have friendships that end up very negative for you, or, you know, friendships with people that are connected to a darker side of life. So anything that's on the seamier side of life, and you may struggle with your friendship with these people because you, although you like these people, you may have a quandary about what they're dealing with, and you might feel like it brings you down in some way. So you have to be aware of this, and this will come up. Also, the 11th house is about dealing with groups. So there can be, especially again if you have squares and things like that, a lot of difficult aspects or conjunctions or oppositions. Group situations may be really testing for you. You may feel that your individuality is completely overshadowed in a group situation, or you may feel that you have no individuality, or that you have too much attention on you and you don't like it. So you may find yourself having people drawn to you like a magnet in a group situation, especially if you have, you know, a lot of Scorpio or Leo energy in your chart. Or if you're an empath, you know, you might feel that people can sense that from you and they're drawn to you, and you might draw a lot of people's dark issues in group situations or in friendships. In friendships, you know, there can be loss of friends as well. So, you know, when I say loss of friends, I also mean, you know, the death of a friend, but also very intense, long friendships that suddenly just, you know, leave your life, or you have to cut those people out because they're too negative for you, they're too draining for you, and they're not good for you. They could be toxic people, you know. And what's the other thing I was going to say? It's about, with the group situation, you know, finding your boundaries as well, and finding your where you feel comfortable, you know, and somehow balancing that, especially if you have Pluto in Libra. So if you're Pluto in Libra generation and you have that in the 11th house, you're wanting to find balance with your interaction with a group situation. A group situation could be any kind of group, by the way. It doesn't have to be a group that you know, go out and choose to be part of, though it might be. It could be a group that you just happen to have to deal with for your daily life for whatever reason. You know, it could be as simple as being a parent, having to collect your child from school, which is what I experience, and, you know, having to immerse yourself in this group of people that, you know, you sort of, that are other mothers with children. And that can, you know, have cliques and all sorts of things going on. So, you know, that's another aspect of Pluto in the 11th house. You may become very aware of cliques in groups and the power that they try to sort of express towards you in some way. So you're always going to be aware of power dynamics in groups, who the people are that are in the group that seem to be very strong with their egos. But it's, you know, and if you have Pluto in Scorpio, then it's even more intense about dealing with group situations. You know, group situations could be the undoing of you in some way, or they could be something that empowers you alternatively, because remember, Pluto is always about extremes, the highs and the lows. Okay, so lastly, Pluto in the 12th house. So, you know, somebody asked me on my channel recently, that they posted a comment that said, please talk about Pluto in the 12th house conjunct the ascendant. Karmic issues around isolation, around dealing with institutions, possibly even being in an institution or being forcibly, you know, put in an institution. If you have Pluto in the 12th house conjunct your ascendant, you really need to be aware of integrity in your life and not do anything that could risk you ending up in a situation where you are, you know, put in a situation where you're isolated, like jail, or doing things that are against the law. It would be a major no-no if you've got Pluto in the 12th house conjunct ascendant. You know, you want to try and live in as much integrity and obviously by the law of your land as much as possible, because you're going to risk that, I feel, unless you've got some other amazing luck in your chart. But there's a lot of Pluto in the 12th house people feel very sort of protective against darker, lower sort of energies. They might be a bit scared, you know, afraid of things wanting to pull them under in this undertow, you know. The 12th house is the watery Neptune house, and Pluto is the underworld. So I would also say be careful of water. So anyone, you know, to do with swimming and currents, and, you know, I mean, I know in Australia where I live, the beaches are actually quite dangerous. Many people come from other countries, just as an example, and they go swimming thinking, because it looks pretty good, like it looks amazing. The beaches are stunning in Australia and in Sydney, and the sand is so white and soft, and, you know, and they have the flags. You're supposed to swim in between the flags, and you see all these tourists come and they just dive right in, and then so many people almost drown, and, you know, do drown in, especially like Bondi Beach, for an example. But the reason I'm saying that is that kind of illustrates Pluto in the 12th house and what it's about. So if, just to finish off on that part, if you have Pluto in the 12th house conjunct your ascendant, be very careful of issues around bodies of water. Especially if you have other Pisces things or other 12th house things, difficult aspects as well. Just be careful when it comes to water. It can be dangerous for you. Emotions are going to be very deep, and just in general for Pluto in the 12th house. You could be an empath yourself with that placement, and you know, you are filtering through a lot of old energy from past lives as well. And there can be a lot of subconscious fears of other people because of possible issues around abuse in past lives, or in, you know, in childhood, where somebody tried to dominate you. And even if it's not overtly obvious of a situation of abuse, it could be very other people that seek power, that are very manipulative, that have a detrimental effect on you. So there are traumas associated with Pluto in the 12th house that need to be cleared in this lifetime. And, you know, the 12th house is also the house of the subconscious mind. So there's a lot in the subconscious. You might have feel like there's a lot of dark energy in your subconscious mind. You might feel that you have to control your reality, because you just feel any moment you could be tripped up by something untoward, you know. There can just be a lot of anxiety there. Especially if you have, you know, a lot of Virgo or other Pisces energy in your chart. You know, you could have a lot of nightmares as a child with this placement, or even as an adult, you could have a lot of nightmares, or really intense dreams, basically. And some past life stuff can filter into your dreams, because it's kind of like just bubbling up from the subconscious stuff from past lives. And there's a lot of clearing, as I said, that you have to do in this lifetime. In handling this energy. I'm just going to see if there was anything else that I wrote down. Yep, so you would need to also learn to shield yourself from toxic people. This is a big one for Pluto in the 12th house. Learning to just stay away from people that, you know, seek to cause you harm, or seek to cause drama around you. And you need to have those boundaries in place, which, especially if you're an empathic person and you have this particular placement, keeping boundaries in place with people that are not good for you is going to be one of the, you know, the tough sort of things that you need to deal with in this life. There can be, you know, as I said, things coming up from the subconscious that need healing, like dark things, a lot of past life traumas, you know, so creative expression can help. If you've got other things in your chart that show creativity, like Taurus, Leo energy, Pisces energy, creative expression, just letting yourself use creativity as a therapy. Music can be very healing, or just finding times of just peacefulness in nature. So because there's a lot going on in your subconscious mind, and then you know, when you have these external situations further rattling you, it can be very unsettling. So these people need a lot of peace in their lives, and they also need to be careful of projecting anything onto other people, because it's already kind of happening as it is on a very subconscious level. So you know, drama does not pay off for these people in any way. It's more about kind of purifying the self and the subconscious mind. And that's pretty much all I can think of. You know, I probably missed something there, but I'm glad to finally get this video out because it's been a while. And just a couple of things. If you want a reading with me, my shop will be open for the next 2 weeks until the end of June, and then I'll be on holidays for a couple of weeks. And I do astrology, tarot, psychic readings, and I'll put a link in this video. And also I actually have another channel which I've opened for my weekly reading. So I do the weekly tarot and a little bit of the astrology every week, and I've been doing that for a long time, but I only just recently opened another channel. The readings used to be unlisted through my current channel, but now I've just opened up a new channel where they're all public, so you can view those there. Thanks for watching, everyone, and if you have questions or comments, please post below. Thanks, bye.